Hi, I'm Doug from Pivago, and I'm here with Victoria today. How are you doing, Victoria?
Yeah, I'm okay. Enjoying the process.
Fantastic, fantastic. We're featuring members of the S2DS cohort every day. And we're going to be following Victoria's journey through from academia to industry. Starting this week, we're going to be getting to know her. And to that end, we've got some quick fire questions coming, but it'd be amazing to hear your background and how you got to the S2DS program.
Right, so I'm Victoria, and I have just started the S2DS, and I am about to finish a PhD in cognitive science, more specifically in infant cognition. So I was testing babies and also adults, but mostly babies, and the main questions were related to memory and attention, so what babies remember and why they remember them. And it is quite a quantitative process that we were using eye tracking or various behavioral or brain imaging methods to kind of quantify the amount of attention or the amount of engagement, the quality of their memory traces.
Wow.
And that, prior to that, I finished a degree in psychology, and before that in philosophy. So I am originally a philosopher turned psychologist turned cognitive scientist turned data scientist. So it is there are a lot of things that I'm interested in, and specifically I'm interested in data science exactly because it requires a technical skills and it requires a know-how of answering these questions. But I also think that understanding the question and putting it into a broader perspective and really knowing how you can help the client and what it is what is the kind of answer that they will be able to use, that's something that I find really fascinating.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I'm looking forward to finding out more.
Fantastic. That sounds amazing. So from philosophy right the way through the journey.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we've got some quick fire questions for you.
Right.
And I'll just shoot away then. Okay. So question number one. What's your secret talent?
Secret talent. I'm not sure whether that could be classified as a talent, but I really like languages and I really like accents, and I can more or less accurately repeat what other people say in languages that I don't understand.
Wow.
So that's something that I've been practicing since
That's
childhood.
really impressive, yeah. And perhaps being psychic is part of that, because the next question is actually, what languages do you speak?
Yes, I'm Hungarian originally, so I speak Hungarian and English, and I also speak Spanish.
Fantastic.
And a tiny bit of German and a tiny bit of Norwegian, but those I've already forgotten.
Oh, right, well, 5. That's a new record, I think, for these. What topic could you spend hours talking to me about?
I actually quite like talking about things other than work, with people that I don't work with. Obviously, philosophy is one of them, but I'm also interested in quite obscure things that most scientists are not interested in, like contemporary literature and psychoanalysis and all sorts of stuff that come from my humanities background. And I actually find it quite nice to wind down reading something totally different than what I've been working on all day. Yeah, so all sorts of topics like sociology and philosophy and politics.
Amazing. That's great. Yeah, I really rate having something different to wind down to. It's the passion.
Yeah, and it's important to keep like a broader perspective of things.
Big time. Really informs everything, right? Following on nicely, what irrational fears do you have?
Irrational fears? Well, are there any rational fears?
Valid.
All fears are irrational to some degree, because obviously if you know what it is that you're afraid of, then you take precautions and all that. Yeah, I am really scared of cockroaches for some reason, and rats, but that's kind of obvious. But I haven't got an issue with any other bugs. It's only cockroaches that I don't like.
Good to know. So we'll make sure none enter the virtual.
Hopefully, yes. Yes, the UK is really good in that regard because it's too cold for them.
Perfect. Have you got a favourite song at the moment?
I don't really listen to the kind kind of poppy music that most people would know. Like I like world music, African or Latin American, and mostly stuff that involves instruments and some kind of folk element.
Sure. Okay.
So
Maybe a
it's not like
favourite Buena Vista Social Club song then?
yeah, I like Buena Vista Social Club, and also the kind of less poppy bits of it. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay, brilliant. If you could predict anything with data science and modelling, what would it be?
I think that's a fantastic question because I think almost all questions can be answered if the question was put properly. And I think that it's important to know that data science is not some kind of a magical tool that will suddenly deliver all the answers in the universe, because we need to ask first and we need to ask the right questions. But what comes to mind, for example, is there was a project at UCL using machine learning to simulate how particular archaeological sites look like, and what kind of what the cities look like thousands of years ago. And as well as you can predict things in the future, you could also simulate things that happened in the past. And if we have no information about something, and the little bits and pieces of evidence that they had, that archaeologists actually had, from using that, it could simulate what the city might have looked like. And I thought that was a great idea, kind of predicting something in the past.
Yeah, very nice. Nice twist on that. Apart from being a data scientist, obviously, what would your dream job be?
Apart from being a data scientist?
Yes, yeah, aside from I mean, I'm hoping that's a given.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of hard to think outside of that box. I think my dream job would be something related to data science, but kind of understanding bigger movements and bigger changes in society. So I was kind of really fascinated about the modeling related to COVID, and so the kind of modeling that informs us about where our society is going. And the changes that we can't pinpoint, in the present moment, but trends that it could inform us. I think working in that field would be a dream job.
Yeah, I agree. That's absolutely fascinating for sure. And the whole Gini index, and how companies or countries or communities work and transform through time.
Because we tend to have a really narrow perspective about the present, and like the recent past and the near future, but like having a broader perspective about trends and about changes in society will be fascinating to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, this one, to keep as short as possible, because I know people like to talk about this one a little bit more. But what's the worst part of your PhD?
I understand now why you wanted it to keep it short. But actually, since I was testing babies, it was fun in the beginning, but I tested about 200 or 300 babies. And the amount of time spent kind of making sure that the baby's comfortable, and then they're fed, and then they've had enough water, and then the nappy's clean, and so the amount of time that we spent in the waiting room doing all of that as compared to the experimental time was really something that now I look back at it kind of laughing, but at the time it wasn't funny when it's been an hour and a half and the baby was still not ready to be tested.
Oh no.
So yeah, I think that it's humorous, but it's a lot easier to do a PhD that involves chemicals or something.
Yeah. Babyless. Yes.
Yeah, like entities that don't need to cooperate with you.
Yeah. Cool. And then on the other side, what was the best part of your PhD?
Actually, the best part was learning programming, and that was something that kind of overtook my interest in the subject matter almost, because it was such a high that I was getting, like being able to solve problems just by code. And when once you've been working on something the whole night and then you hit run and you actually get what you wanted, information that would have been impossible to find manually, or it would have taken you years, and then suddenly it's there, and the power that it entails, like, it is really mesmerizing.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I can completely relate to that. Who's been the most influential person for you?
In terms of academically, or
just in terms of life, I guess?
I think the most influential people were my professors at philosophy, because obviously it was a long time ago and I've forgotten almost everything about philosophy, but the way they talked to us as equals, when we were like 18 years old, then we didn't know anything about anything, and they actually smoked cigarettes with us, and we went to a bar with them, and you could ask them questions even if they were silly questions, and that kind of openness to debate and that encouragement that any question is okay. I have not seen that anywhere in science or anywhere else, and I think it's really important to kind of to raise and educate open-minded people who don't feel silly about asking questions. So I think that has really left a mark.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. 100%. Having that, especially from people you respect, right? I think is so important.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. Well, if they think it's okay for me to like ask a question that I'm not sure about, then it definitely is, and that reassurance, confidence that comes from that.
Yeah, and that is really what makes the world move forward.
Yes, yes. What is the most underrated thing that you know about that other people may not?
Underrated thing in terms of like a fact or something?
Yeah, or anything. Like it could be a cool product, or it could be a service, or it could be just something in life.
I don't know whether this is particularly underrated, but I have tried to look into this, but didn't find conclusive evidence on that. And maybe it does exist, but I always wanted to understand the communication of whales and dolphins. And although there is a lot of information about how they do it, but why they do it, and to what degree that is actually similar to natural languages, that's something I'm really interested in, because we tend to think that human beings are unique in the sense that they can communicate with words and semantically variable information, and I think it would be really interesting to look into that in detail, whether like to what degree that is actually true.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, I haven't come across any studies, but I haven't really looked.
I tried to look, but I didn't spend an awful long time, but I didn't get the information I wanted.
Sure. Okay. We're on to our last two, which are kind of like options. So what do you prefer, R or Python?
I have been using R mostly before this program. I'm using Python. It's not that hard to learn one after the other, but I have been using R because what I was doing is mostly testing a priori hypotheses. So you set out and you say, I think this is going to be the case. And to do that, to use kind of classical statistics, R has got really powerful packages. It can also do really pretty graphs. But so for the kind of statistical analysis that I've been doing, R is really, really good, whereas Python is really powerful when you don't know what your question is exactly. So the kind of unsupervised learning, when you want to get out a pattern, but you don't know what the pattern is going to be. So I think that they're, like, this is in a debate. These two things are complementary because they are for slightly different things.
Cool. So that's the end of the kind of quick fire questions.
Thank you.
And it's great to kind of get an overview of, you know, speaking 4 or 5 languages and a background in philosophy, leading through to data science. Yeah, really interesting. And I look forward to our next check-in next week and seeing how you're getting on with the program.
Cool. Thanks
Awesome.
a lot. See you next week.
Thanks very much, Viktoria. Take care.